Brodes Media.
This is one of the most chaotic weekends I can remember, and there's really not that much to discuss that happened on the field outside of Sunday with Mick Abel, who was awesome, by the way, awesome, like flat out awesome. I had so much excitement waiting for that game to happen. I had so much joy watching him on the mound. That first inning, throwing a couple Uncle Charlies that went from 12 to 6 and had people fooled. Now, full transparency, the Pittsburgh Pirates absolutely suck. You saw that Friday, 7th inning, close game. You had one hit, but somehow managed to score 4 runs because they were just walking everybody, right? And Nick Castellanos, who's swinging at the first pitch and falling down 0-2, even when they couldn't find the strike zone to save their lives, he then gets drilled by a pitch to continue that surge. The Pirates suck. That doesn't change the fact, though, that Mick Abel was extremely impressive. And we'll talk more about him as the show kind of moves along here. I think the most obvious and glaring conversation that needs to happen is what the hell went down with Jose Alvarado. And there's also an Aaron Nola on the IL stint for the first time since 1653 to get to as well. So if you can't tell, I don't know if chaos is even the proper word to describe all the craziness because it is out of this world nuts. Truthfully. Over the last couple of days, though, I've heard rumblings and seen a couple things when it came to Alvarado, but it wasn't enough to fully invest in because, well, it wasn't getting verified to my liking. So I kept an eye out, but I took steps back on it. And then earlier today, when I went on Twitter and saw the news, I went, all right, damn it. Well, I guess there was a lot of truth to it. This sucks. I mean, it flat out is pissing me off that we are losing one of our most prioritized arms and one of your most lethal weapons. Most lethal weapons. I can't talk. But that's what happens. My body starts to crumble because I just realized that we are super thin as it is. And now someone who was that special and that magnificent and that lockdown and that great is no longer available for you. Screw that he could come back and all. Guess it doesn't do a damn thing for me when you aren't reliable and available for the playoffs. And it's a huge smack in the face. And now you got to figure it the hell out, Dave Dombrowski. If you're one of the top presidents in baseball and you're one of the top guys that this entire league, they drool thinking about Dave Dombrowski because that's how a lot of baseball people talk. That's how a lot of baseball people speak about Dave is this guy is different. This guy is a machine. This guy is premier. Okay, I know this is a very shitty spot to be in, but if you are so premier, then figure it out. And truth be told, I think there's a lot of internal options that can help you out here. Now, the lefty part of this is where it gets interesting because, Matt Strom, sure, Romano as a righty is starting to turn it around a little bit, but having that flexibility of Jose Alvarado going up against a 1-2-3 in the order with the lefty arm that he is. But this is the truth, too, though, that we got to remember. He's coming into spring training rocking 102. He's been dynamite because he's been cheating. It's not, man, you really lost someone awesome, and it sucks that you no longer have him because he was doing so well. He was doing so well because he was cheating. And I'm not buying for a second that he's taking medicine to try and lose weight, and that happened to be popped with the substance abuse policy or whatever, or the substance enhancement policy, whatever it is. No, I'll tell you what happened. He had testosterone in his system because my man was looking for an edge. He was looking for an advantage. He was trying to win. So he cheated. That's what happened. So he let his teammates down. He let the fan base down. He made a very selfish decision that screwed his group. And even if he wasn't as elite as he's shown us if he didn't take any sort of performance enhancers. There's still something there. Unless you've been cheating your whole time here in Philadelphia. I'm sure it would have been more of a wild ride. It would have been more of an emotional ride. But we need you. We need a version of you compared to nothing at all. It's already a disadvantage every single time we go into a game because there's not many reliable arms. But this is what Dave Dombrowski can do. He can look at Taijuan Walker. He can look at Ranger Suarez. He can look at the Aaron Nola situation, although I don't think his stuff translates to bullpen arm. He can look at Mick Abel. He can look at Andrew Painter. He can look at a lot of these guys and see if there is a way to clean up the vomit. The vomit being the bullpen and the absurdity of Jose Alvarado. And you can get by a team like Pittsburgh. You could put it behind you on a day where you face a team that's 15-32 or something along those lines. At this time, 15-33, 15-31. They're a bad, abysmal baseball team. You can show up to the ballpark and do your thing and win 1-0. Even when you face Paul Skeens with Livy Dunn in the stands, facing Mick Abel, who just shoves, nonchalantly throwing 9 Ks and looking as pure as humanly possible. You can get by then, but is this really going to destroy you against some of these easier teams? And or some of these harder teams, excuse me, when you're not facing an easier team. And truth be told, you even needed Jose Alvarado in game 1. In game 1, when it was 8-4, you thought it was going to be a comfortable lead to the point where you bring in some dude named Daniel Roberts. Was that his name? And he had Daniel Robert. Poor guy, felt bad for him. He was almost crying in the dugout for his disaster of an outing. And Alvarado had to come in and he had to waste them and use them. And it doesn't really matter now because it's so irrelevant. But at the time on Friday night, I'm thinking that stuff pisses me off. But at the same time, I'm actually going to give the Phillies and Rob Thompson credit here. And this could sound very hypocritical, but hear me out. If we were screaming that you got to look at guys in the minors and you got to see what some of these arms can do because you already know the Ruizes and the Hernandezes and the Joe Rosses and all these other combination of arms that you have thrown out there have been terrible, then you got to try something different. And then they try something different and it explodes in your face and it's extremely disappointing. But if we're going to get very loud and yell and scream that you must try to see if there's someone else who could step the hell up. If they do and it fails, can you then freak out that Rob Thompson's an idiot and Dave Dombrowski's stupid and why would they ever do that? And I'm thinking, well, if you can't bring them in when you're facing a team that's 15-30 in a game where you're winning by a bunch of runs, you're playing Pittsburgh, you're at home, you should be in a comfortable spot. If that's not the time where you can try something different with the Daniel Robert, then when can you try to see if you can explore something in your bullpen with some names that are in your farm system? So I really don't knock them for it. It was just annoying that it's another outing that we had to waste Alvarado. But at this point, again, it's irrelevant because Jose Alvarado's not even here for you. And it's a shame because that stings. That's brutal. You're going to have to make maybe a couple different of moves at the deadline. You had to do that anyway. See, everything I'm about to lay out, you had to do anyway. You had to make a couple moves at the deadline, even if Jose Alvarado was clean and was here for you, and you had to look internally to see how you can rebuild this thing. But here's the luxury of where this franchise is right now. It's a lot of good arms. And I don't give a damn for 1 second if, well, this guy's a starter and this guy is this, and I don't care. There are a lot of really good arms, and you have an insane amount of depth. Sit someone the fuck down and have some very difficult conversations about what the route is moving forward. Hey, Ranger, we're going to the pen. Hey, Abel, you're staying up and you're going to join the rotation. I'm a Nola guy. But figure out what you got to do with Nose. Figure out what you got to do with Taijuan. Figure it out. Hey, Painter. Penn. I don't care that these players think that they're this and that. If you really want to maximize this window of Philadelphia Phillies baseball, unfortunately, this is now the spot you're cornered into. You're either going to punt, you're either going to get very desperate and do stupid things to try and fix it in ways that are silly, like overpay for people at the deadline that aren't very good, and you're going to do it with multiple different guys because you don't want to screw up where some of the Painters and the Abels are. Whatever it is, they're either going to make knee-jerk reaction decisions like that, or you could see, hold on a second, we got a huge folder of names right now that are extremely successful. And we have a lot of holes to fill pitching on this staff. We have too much good pitching. Not enough starters for the rotate, or not enough spots to start them all in the rotation. But there are other ways to utilize their skill set, and they're actually really, really strong at what they do. Let's fill some of these holes internally, and then we can get to the deadline, understand what we need, have better knowledge, and from there attack. I think it's a no-brainer. I really do.